So things are starting to heat up here at the Results Operations Centre. A lot more activity than we saw much earlier on. And one of the individuals, of course, who has just arrived is the DA's Helen Zille. Ms. Zille, thank you very much indeed for your time. Apologies while you were speaking on the phone there. But let me get your overall sense of this election, yesterday's vote.
Well, yesterday's vote was marred by a very poor performance of the IEC. It was the worst that I have seen yet, and one doesn't want that in a maturing democracy. One would think that the IEC would get better and better every election as they iron out the problems that they faced in the previous elections. But that does not seem to be the case, and I think the IEC has got a lot of introspection to do around whether it's doing justice to a young democracy.
So what we see at the moment on the leaderboard, and we have been telling our viewers, of course, it's still very early. We're waiting for many of these results to come through. But if we take a look at the Democratic Alliance at the moment, it's 490,035. My eyes are deceiving me there, but I hope I got that right. For the Democratic Alliance, do you feel that the campaign that you ran was sufficient enough to keep you in your position, or to even cast doubt on the electorate, or to give them, an option in terms of how the country should move forward in dealing with some of the challenges that the electorate has been complaining about?
Well, indeed, the DA is the option for good governance. We've proved that where we govern, either in local authorities or in the province of the Western Cape, that if people want good governance, they vote for the DA, and good governance makes an enormous difference in people's lives. So we don't only do that before election, the proof of the pudding is in the long periods between elections. So it is very, very important for people to understand that that's why they vote, for good governance. So that's the DA's offer. And we told the truth throughout the entire election campaign. We ensured that everybody knew what they would face, and we gave them the clearest alternative in the DA.
But if you look at the Western Cape, for example, and I must say, these are results that are yet to come into their full shape. But, for example, the Patriotic Alliance in the Western Cape seems to have made inroads. I'm not able to tell at this particular point whether it is on the back of your supporters. Does that worry you at this stage?
I think that the Patriotic Alliance's growth is primarily scooping up all the small parties like Good, like the PBI. They've taken a big chunk from the ANC, and of course they've also taken some of our votes. Now that represents a kind of ethnic identity vote, if I can put it that way, and that should worry every single South African, because if South Africa disintegrates into a whole range of ethnic identity votes, it's going to be very, very difficult to build a coherent government. I think our coalitions in future will be totally ungovernable in that sense. And it means that people won't be voting on what parties offer, and they certainly won't be voting on a track record in governance. They will be voting for people who they can identify with personally, but without consequence for the longer term results of what they're doing, which is going to be to make governance almost impossible in our country.
But that particular aspect, when you talk about people voting on ethnic lines, are you saying that they simply voted for the Patriotic Alliance in this particular instance because they're coloured, or is this not because also perhaps the sections of the coloured vote in the Western Cape that don't believe that the Democratic Alliance has done enough for them?
Well, I think you must go and interview those voters, but you will know that Gayton has always said he's not interested in any other vote but the coloured vote. And so that speaks very strongly to that sense of identity that he's trying to create for people as coloured people rather than as South Africans.
Ms. Zille, thank you very much for your time. We've run out of time, but we're great to catch you. Thank you very much indeed. The DA's Helen Zille also arriving here at the Results Operations Centre.